But we're talking about money earlier today, and athletes and money. And Dak Prescott, he said this, and it will set up what Draymond Green said last week on the Shaq podcast. But here's Dak Prescott last week on what he plays for.
Business is business. I'll leave it where it gets handled. Right now it's about being my best for this team right now in this moment. OTA's helping these guys out and just focused on that. And I know my business will take care of itself. And so been in it before, experienced, and just controlling what I can right now.
Why have you been able to be so patient when it comes to the business?
I don't play for money. Never have, never cared for it, to be honest with you.
Play for championships.
Yeah, would give it up just to play this game. So I allow that to the business people to say what it's worth, what they're supposed to give a quarterback of my play, a person of my play, leader of my play, I guess you can say. And for me, it's about, as I said, control. I can control and handle that part, and the rest will take care of itself.
So I guess the first question that just pops right away for fans: do you believe them? Do you believe when an athlete says they don't play for the money, they play for the love of the game? Because I do believe them.
I believe most of the athletes we're watching are playing for the love of the game.
90%.
Like Patrick Mahomes signed a $400 million deal.
Yeah, $500 million.
When I watch him, it looks like he's playing for the love of competition in the game.
Tom Brady, what did he play for?
100%. Now, do they want to get compensated?
Absolutely.
Sure, like all of us in our own particular industry.
Peyton Manning, did he play for the love of the game?
Absolutely. Now, that being said, I believe the majority of the athletes are playing for the love of the game. Are there guys that play just for the paycheck, or their opinion changes over time and they play for the... I'm sure there are. We all have met these people in every walk of life who hate the job that they're in for whatever reason.
It's all about the money.
But I believe, especially the greats, the Kobes, the Stephs, the LeBrons, the guys, Patrick Mahomes, Brady, Bryce Harper. Like, yes, they want to make gobs of money, and they want the status and the ego, power that comes with that. But more than anything, they're maniacally obsessed with winning and playing the game. That's what I believe to my core. Do you think the average fan believes that?
Nope.
Why?
They just don't know. Because the average fan they're not able to see what we see up close and personal. We're fortunate as Sports Talk radio hosts. I get to go to practice and to go to the locker room. I get to converse with these players more so than the average fan. So you get to know them on a human level. And being around it, pro sports, you look at these players, like Fred Warner, for example. We talk to him, and then I see him. He's playing for the love of the game. Now, again, you want to get paid. You have a shelf life, and you got to get paid. It's a violent sport when it comes to football, especially when it comes to football. But even basketball, around Kyrie, listen to Kyrie Irving. He's playing for the legacy. Everything he says right now, I want to win another ring. And, Mullen told me the story. I ran into Jason Kidd, but he ran into Kyrie. And Kyrie looked at Chris Mullin. He goes, my dad used to tell me all about you. Much respect to you. I'm playing this game to make you guys proud. I want to make you guys proud. The OGs, the legends who paved the way for me. And I do think a lot of guys who play football are playing for the love, play for the legacy, play for that ring. Why did they play for that Lombardi? We don't want that championship. So, yes, you want the money. You want to be compensated, no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, it's a kid's game. And I think a lot of these players, they emphasize that. Like Nick Bosa, does he love football? I think he loves football. But he definitely wanted to get paid because he understands the shelf life. But that's a football family.
Yeah. It's funny that you reference going to practice, because my opinion, not that it changed dramatically, but I was acutely more aware when, we criticized D Ford for a long time. And then you and I went to one of the practices, and I'm watching how hard he's working to not to practice with the team, to be able to get the approval to go practice.
Yes.
Okay? He was working on the side to try to get approval from the trainers to be able to practice. And then you and I started talking with him, and I forget the exact exchange, but it was something to the effect of, I don't want to talk to you until I'm right, and I'm back on the field.
I remember what happened. We're watching him after practice by himself, working the bag, working on his heads, doing everything. And remember, he got off to a flying start in that Detroit game. D Ford looked right. It was like, D Ford looks good, that whole drop. Well, he did look good. He did look good. His body failed him. But I remember we walked around, I was like, D Ford, man, we pull it for you. And he gave us a little heart thing. And we said, man, we got to get you on the ropes, man. He goes, man, I'm coming on, but I need to get right first. Let me get right. I'll get on with you guys, but I need to get right. And you saw firsthand. I'm glad you saw that, because that was more.
That was powerful.
It was powerful for you, because I've been around it. I see how, on the side, these guys want to play. They don't want to be on the sideline. Like D Ford didn't have fun cashing checks knowing he can't contribute to the betterment of the team. And that moment for you, I thought was huge because you saw it, because you've been on the fan side of it. And you cross over, you go to practice, you're like, oh, wow, these guys are human.
Well, he's trying.
They do want to play.
Yeah.
He's trying.
He's trying harder at that than most of us in our job. And we all work hard. I'm not saying people don't work hard that are listening to this, but I'm saying what he's done in his profession is he's so rare. To make it to the league from where he is, like, he's so excellent at his job. Think of whatever you're doing, bus driver, whether you're an electrician, a plumber, a police officer, a firefighter, a nurse, whatever you're doing, Dee Ford's one of the top at doing it. And then on that level of just finally making it, think of where he is in comparison to the greats of the league. He is maniacally obsessed with maximizing whatever short window he has to play. And to me, it's not about the money. He's out there to play. Now, yes, the compensation is a portion of, what maybe helps keep him going or whatever, even though his body's failing him. And I'm not here to deny it. But I do think there'll be like the average... I'm looking at the average median household income in America is $74,000. And I think that when we see these numbers, 40 million and 30 million, and heck, even $1 million, people, they get money envy, number one. We get a little jealous, and we can't even quantify or fathom that amount of money. So we'll say things, and I'm guilty because I've said that, give me $100 million and I'll go do X, Y, and Z. And it's like...
It's not that easy.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not that easy. So a couple things here. I want to rewind a little bit with the Dee Ford narrative. Because there was a narrative, I believe, before you saw Dee Ford on that field. There's a narrative. And the media can't control narratives. Trust me, they can. And the narrative was Dee Ford stealing money. He's a bum. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
And the fan saw these headlines, and they trusted media members to give them the correct information. Not all of them, but there were certain media members and content creators who were basically calling Dee Ford a bum. And the average fan didn't see that. So they're going off of what these people who cover practice, and they're saying, boy, he's a bum. Forget him. He can't even stay on the field. And then when you go to a practice, you see him working after the field. The average fan doesn't see that.
No.
And then it's word of mouth, right? How much credibility do you have? So if I say, hey, man, Dee Ford's working out after practice, Bonte, you're just being a homer.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying Dee Ford looks good, because my credibility is important to me. Yeah. My integrity is important to me. But people shape a narrative about a certain player, and it could ruin it for the fan. They're like, he stole money. So the narrative about Dee Ford, when I hear Niner fans talk about Dee Ford, it does bother me because, one, when he was on the field, he played really well with the 49ers. That pass rush was legit. Buckner, Armstead, Bosa, Dee Ford, they didn't have to blitz.
Yeah.
They didn't have to blitz. You're dropping 7 in coverage. No wonder you're getting all these turnovers. His body failed him. But the average fan sees the millions, and they see narratives, and they see headlines, and they're like, this guy is not even trying. And we saw firsthand, Dee Ford was trying to get back on the field. He was trying to get back on the field. And then, too, I think back to Guru's rant, one of his classic rants about the construction workers, because guys weren't playing in the NBA. And he was talking about the construction workers getting up and they're playing hard. I did talk to Kate Scott, and she goes, Bonte, and I do believe this, even though these guys are flying charter, you still got to get in the air.
Yeah.
You got to go through the terminal. You got to get on the plane. You got to fly somewhere. You're not getting much rest. You get to the hotel room at 3, 4 in the morning. Yeah. You got to get up for shoot around. Then you got to play a game. Then you got to do it all over again. You got to pack. You got to do it all over again. Think about when we're traveling back from Boston, how exhausted were we?
I didn't play at all, and I was completely exhausted.
These guys are traveling left and right, whether it's football, baseball, especially baseball and basketball. And we don't give enough credit because we just say, well, they're flying charter, it's first class, it's all good. But I remember getting on the plane takes a lot out of you.
Oh, hell
yeah. It
yeah.
does. And so then you got to go to the arena. You got to ramp up. You got to go through shoot around. You got to watch film. You got to get ready for the opponent. And people don't see all that. And they just say, well, you get paid millions of dollars. You should be able to do that. But a lot of us did play sports. And I'll just say this for radio purposes. Yeah. I saw a lot of people who were probably more talented than me in sports radio.
Yeah.
Had more natural talent.
Yeah.
As a writer, I saw people who had more natural talent as a writer. But they didn't stick it out because they didn't have the patience.
Or
and so when people say, or the work ethic,
yeah.
to see it through.
Yeah.
And that happens in sports where guys who may have a lot of talent, whatever, I don't have it, I'm just going to quit. And you don't get those. These guys work hard to get to this level. The work Steph Curry has to put in to get to that level, you can't underrate that. Even Draymond Green, I know a lot of us are down on Draymond Green. He was a second-round pick who had to work his way to the league.
Oh,
maximum effort.
His journey is incredible.
It's incredible.
It's very relatable. But then where it's not relatable is you see the amount of money that everyone's making. Yep. And to me, I think the fine line is very specific. It's when you are naive to the fact that the consumer, your basic sports consumer, could never fathom the amount of money that they're heckling over via social media. And what happens is that that's their business tactic to use their leverage for their window to make money. But I don't think some of them realize, not all of them, but I don't think some of the athletes realize, in a weird way, it's like a slap in the face to some of the fans.
I'll play a sound bite that will get people riled up. But I see this from the 510 Xfinity Mobile text line.
Hear what people
it's
say.
easy to play for the love of the game when you're making hundreds of millions of dollars playing a child's game. Is it really that easy? Again, you got to realize these guys can't walk into a Starbucks like we can. They can't just walk into Whole Foods and go shopping without getting mobbed. Or somebody may say, hey, man, you hit that shot, it cost me. Think about fantasy football, betting, and everything like that. These guys are getting DMs left and right. Hey, man, you didn't hit your player prop. Screw you.
Flip open Instagram and just look at Klay Thompson's Instagram.
Right. I mean,
no, I'm serious, you know?
So it's not that easy when you have to deal with all that. When they get between the white lines, sure, it's great you're playing a kid's game. But then as soon as you get off the floor and you get to the podium or you get to your phone, and especially with Prize Picks now.
I know. It's
Halliburton talked about it. Fantasy football. Hey, you cost me. You kneeled at the 1 yard line. You bum. Blah, blah, blah. You cost me money. It is going to get worse with sports gambling.
No, I agree with you.
It's not. So 510, it's not that easy playing a child's game when you're making hundreds of millions of dollars because of the scrutiny that comes with that. And money can't pay for you to make that scrutiny dissipate.
Well, I want to, peel it back to us. We do not make millions of dollars.
No, not even close.
Okay? No, not even close. And I'm not here to say, woe is me. But I hear a lot from a lot of people, man, you guys are so lucky. You only have to work X amount of hours a day and get to talk sports. And trust me, I mean this with all my heart. We are so blessed. Well, I'm so grateful for the opportunity we have. But I don't want anyone to feel like bad for us in any way. But this doesn't sleep. No. I am consuming and thinking about this 24/7, 365. If you think that we just think about this show from 6 to 10, you're mistaken because I see where this industry is going. And I see where some of my colleagues have gone and what has happened to them because of the industry. And you know what I think about? How do I not become the fax machine? Right. How do I stay relevant every single day? How do we crush this next segment?
Yep.
And we're making a fraction of what those guys are. And I am grateful. I am super grateful.
But you learn right away, this is a 24-hour job.
And it can be gone.
It's 24 hours.
Like that. And you know what? There's guys behind the glass who want my job. Yep, exactly. And there's guys listening in the air that want my job. And there's a guy on YouTube right now who has a small content channel who wants my job yesterday. And so to a small degree, we all can understand that point. But here's the thing. I try not to rub some of the perks in people's eyes because I know that that's a bad look for me. And I was taught in sales many years ago, and I want to use this analogy. The guy was like, hey, this is Wilbert Tom, one of the smartest guys I've ever met in sales. He's like, Joe, if you're going to pull up to some store that you're going to use and you're going to sell to them, don't show up with a Rolex and a Ferrari because that guy running that small business is like, hey, you're the one making money, not me. I'm struggling. I'm working so hard and you're selling me product and you're the one making money. So it's how you present yourself to the audience and the consumer. So when I see whether it's, Draymond Green say what he says, and we'll play it in a second, or Eric Armstead breaking down how much the federal government takes from his check, I'm like, hey, Eric, I understand your intent was to educate people on money and finances.
But it's not going to go over well with this crowd.
It's a bad look.
They don't see it.
It's like wearing the Rolex to go sell.
This guy from the 415, this is his opinion. His opinion. Oh, boo-hoo, they can't go shopping. I'm driving home from a 72-hour shift, like making less money a year than they'll make in 10 minutes. Bonta, you're out of touch. I don't want to hear this crap.
I think a lot of people feel
and a lot of people feel like that.
I do.
A lot of people feel like that. But I watch Chris Mullin. I watch Chris Mullin and Festus Ezeli. They can't get out of the gatehouse.
Yeah, it's true.
And they're signing every single autograph. Every single picture. And then people say, well, they should. They make millions of dollars. They're taking all the time in the world to do it, and they don't have to do it.
No.
They don't have to do that. And they're getting mobbed like that everywhere they go. How much do you think that takes a toll on somebody? We're like, dude, I just want to breathe for a second. I don't care how many millions of dollars. Like, you got to be in the house.
And I think that the way we view sports, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, there's a lot of athletes who aren't making hundreds of millions of dollars, and we are destroying them. Like, I think of someone like Kuminga. Kuminga does have generational wealth, but look where he came from. Look where he came from. And we are crushing him on a possession because he didn't jump and hedge quicker, and so we're gonna just rip and hours of content. I'm like, wow.
By the way, you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ, FM in Nation, West San Francisco, an Odyssey Sports Station, always live on the free Odyssey app. Don't forget, You can also watch us every day on our YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter streams, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Upgrade your savings dividend. Open a First NorCal First Class Money Market today. Working at Cobb's Comedy Club was a great experience for me because it helped me learn what the one percenters are all about, right? These comedians, whether it was John Oliver, David Allen Greer, Joe Rogan came and did shows, Ari Spears, you had Dave Chappelle, Kevin, I mean, the top of the top. I got to meet these comics. Richard Lewis, rest in peace. I saw him do 4 shows wearing an all-black suit and a black T-shirt at Cobb's Comedy Club. I got a first-hand experience and just talking to these guys. And what they wanted, every time you see these fans, can I get a picture? Oh, my God, can I get a picture? And they were just like, but they were jonesing for just normalcy.
Yeah.
Jonesing. I talked to John Oliver for 20 minutes, found out he was a Mets fan, right? Well, this is before he really took off.
Yeah.
And we're just trying. At the end of the day, he gets into his head. He goes, "Hey man, Bonte, thanks for talking. This was cool, man. Thanks so much, man. That was good. It was just different. It wasn't. Hey, let me get your autograph. Hey, I love you. Hey, let's get a picture. Oh my God. It was, man. How you doing? What's your family like? How you like them? Just they're jonesy for that. Athletes are jonesy for that. Millionaires are jonesy for that. But they can't do it because you get fans who say, man, who cares? You're making millions of dollars. You got no problems.
But on the same end, like I do feel for the consumer because the consumer isn't making a lot of money, and listen to these prices. And not all of them, but a small few lash out at some of the fans, and I get it, but like it's just it's a double-edged sword. I feel like that's where we're at in life. It's a double-edged sword, and social media has not helped it, Bonte. The prices to get into these venues have not helped it. Streaming costs to just follow your team right now in the modern television era as you're trying to, go to work and pay for the cost of living and try to provide for your family. Costs are through the roof, and it just feels like the consumer just keeps getting stuck with the bill at every single turn. And we're supposed to feel empathy for people making hundreds of millions of dollars. I think a lot of people, and at times me, I find that hard to swallow.
Yeah. No. Let's go to, by the way, Pete Alonso's CT scan on his right hand was negative. No fracture per source. He is day to day. Let's go to Vince real quick in the city. Vince, what's happening? You're on the roast.
Hey, what's up, guys? Funny you guys are talking about players and their contracts and stuff because it's something that me and the boys always talk about. And I really honestly don't get it. Like, we're from the Bay, right? This is the Bay. This is all about independent hustle. Why is everybody so worried about how much these players are making? Why are you pocket watching? You don't know how many hours each one of these guys have put in the gym since they were kids. You're talking about pro athletes who are probably top 3 or 1% or whatever it is of the population who are able to make a living in pro sports. Most of the time, their careers don't even last more than 4 years of their first contract. So while a lot of us as fans, I understand that you're frustrated, but you got to remember these players are getting contracts off of work that they have already put in and their performances that they've already made. Now, if they don't live up to those contracts, then it is what it is. You rewarded a guy, but you can't blame him for Father Time winning. Father Time is undefeated. These guys put in all these hours of work, getting up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, putting in all these hours in the gym, while us consumers are sleeping in. Watching TV.
That Vince, you got more? Because that's a great call. That's one of the best calls we've had in a long time.
That. We had a kid, Tate Medikoff. He's a senior at Sacred Heart. He's going to go to University of Santa Clara next year. You know what he said to all our 12-year-olds? I go, why are you where you're at right now? Because he was grinding on a Sunday, hitting in the cage. He goes, because I put in the work no one sees.
Well,
he hasn't even made it yet. He's a great player, leads the state in like a lot of different offensive categories. A great kid, working his butt off. He said his exact words, I put in the work no one else is willing to do and no one sees.
Well, I'll make it about because that's a great story. Real quick before we break. A lot of people say, Bonte, you're very lucky. And I am. I'm very fortunate.
Absolutely.
I hit the jackpot. I did. I hit the jackpot of life. I got lucky. I started working with Pop. I got lucky with television. I got lucky with all those things. But on the flip side, nobody ever brings up me covering high school sports in 08 or JUCO sports in 08 at City College, writing for the school newspaper. Nobody ever brings up me working a graveyard shift running Giants replays in the middle of the night on a Friday, Saturday as a 31-year-old. You know what I mean? Nobody ever brings up me making $20 a day or $20 an article covering high school sports. It took a lot of effort to get to this point. And the same thing with these players. The same thing. What Vince just said. We're not in them. Steph Curry's working out right now probably. We're not seeing it. We just think, he just gets on the court and hits a three-point shot. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And so we got to stop pocket watching. These guys put in the work. We got to stop, but it's our job, too, as media members to do that. So